Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Levelling Up podcast. And today it gives me great pleasure to welcome Gemma Payne. And Gemma is the head of Southern University Purchasing Consortium, or for the purpose of the podcast today, we'll be saying SUPC. Hi, Gemma, welcome.
Hi, Paula. Nice to see you.
Lovely to have you. Now, Gemma, you actually started off your career within the private sector. And obviously you started within procurement, which is a bit rare sometimes to hear. What was it about procurement that you loved and what made you choose it as your long-term career?
So it's interesting. So to start off with, I think, do people actually always choose procurement as their career route? Because when I joined Vodafone, I joined as a temp, as a purchasing clerk. So I hadn't heard of procurement. I didn't know what procurement did really. So it was really interesting joining the organisation and sort of managing sort of purchase orders and managing that process for a big organisation like Vodafone. And I think what drove me to stay in procurement and to have a longer term career in it is around stakeholder engagement and working with different functions, really understanding the core of what the business is trying to do. And to be an enabler, I really enjoy stakeholder management and I really like, customer service. And I think the role that procurement can play to really bring functions together and add value as well. So I think, procurement can be seen as a blocker, and actually I see us as an enabler about bringing functions together, looking at commercial contracts, looking at how we can bring efficiencies to a procurement that's being run and adding value through price negotiations or contract terms and sort of bringing into the organisation of working with finance functions, operations, and really seeing how that we can support the overarching objectives of an organisation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think enabler is a great word to use for procurement. Absolutely, completely agree. And I mean, in your role as the head of SUPC, you have got quite a big challenge, like many other organisations at the moment, in the change in the Public Procurement Act, which is fast approaching. It'd be really great to hear how you have prepared SUPC, also for your members and also for your suppliers, how you've prepared them for the change in the Procurement Act.
Yes, it's been a huge task, and I think we joke internally that winter is coming, and it is now upon us that we will be going live on the 24th of February. I think it's key to have somebody that is overarchingly responsible for understanding what the Procurement Act will bring and the changes it will bring to the way that we procure going forward. So I have in my team a special projects lead who has been working very closely with an assistant supply relationship manager to pull together and look at our critical paths, our processes, and aligning ourselves with the new act and understanding all the different transparency requirements, all the different notices. So we've done it as a project. So we had, cultural change, and how does that cultural change affect our members, us as a team, and also our suppliers going forward? And they've worked really closely at looking at our templates, updating them of what we need from a procurement perspective, also working with our suppliers of making them more aware of all the changes they will see, how we'll embed that through our new SRM program, so supplier relationship management, and actually just making them aware of all of the free webinars that have been provided by central government around transforming public procurement and providing regular updates since August last year with our suppliers. For our members, we realised that there was a gap, that actually, they would all be working towards the same end goal. So we partnered with another consortia, LUPC, under the banner of UK UPC, which we sit under, to produce member-facing templates on the Procurement Act from a tendering perspective, and partnered with a legal firm. And then basically our members have access to a set of templates. So there's no duplication. They get access to these templates going forward for their institutions and have access to a legal provider that can provide guidance and a free webinar that we've done as well. So we've supported our members as well as ourselves. And internally, I think what was key for us and our success is actually having our critical path on our gateway process, and then mapping out all of the new requirements from a legislation perspective around the notices and what gateway that would hit, whether we need a new template, and then working as a team to produce those templates, update templates, looking at whether we had the internal resource, whether we need to get legal providers to provide us with templates as well. So we've been working on this project for over 12 months now, and we're so close to the end of the process, and I think we need to measure our success as well. So after we go live with the Procurement Act, it'll be really interesting to see how those processes have changed and developed, and how everybody navigates the new regulations going forward.
It sounds like you're very well prepared, particularly in providing those templates, but it sounds like you've really invested and allocated individuals to be able to really support this change, which is great. So I think that's going to really support your members.
Thank you.
Which is good. It sounds great. So your career has progressed very quickly at SUPC. You've gone from a head of procurement role into the head of SUPC, which obviously a really senior position. What do you think career and what experience have you gained that's helped you to move into a senior position like this and to make it a real success?
I think coming in as the head of procurement at SUPC really gave me experience of sort of that hands on the ground to understand what SUPC was facing. So I think, it doesn't matter what level position you are, you really need to understand the drivers for your organisation and the challenges that individuals are facing. I think a key part of it is being an active listener and really sort of taking that time to understand the challenges that you're facing. I think I've always kind of consistently looked beyond the immediate responsibilities of any role that I've gone in and kind of tried to identify ways for sort of longer term value. I think having an inquisitive mind and a drive for improving value and productivity through streamlining processes has helped me. I think my role at Sovereign helped as well around sort of transforming what we were doing from a category perspective. So, managing change helps me in the position that I am today, and having that wider scope lens is, looking outside of the box, and you have to take a step back sometimes and look wider to where you're going in your career and also where the organisation's trying to go. And being able to listen and being a critical friend as well, I think is very key from that perspectively. I think building strong networks as well helps me as a leader. So making sure externally that I'm keeping abreast of what's going on in procurement within public regulations and also in the private sector, and having good, people that I've worked with previously that are in heads of roles, or even category managers and admin people that I've worked with previously, is having that good network around and support to be able to rely on and to bounce ideas off of, and having a diverse set of people around you really helps you flourish in role. And I think it for me personally, it was a great opportunity, and I've just been very fortunate that the opportunity to become head of SUPC came so quickly for me.
And do you think, because you're the head of SUPC, that's helped with being able to focus on really embedding the Public Procurement Act and getting prepared for it? Do you feel that because your role in that senior position has allowed you to really enable that to happen?
Yes, definitely. And I think, when I came to SUPC, it was really understanding what processes and templates we had in place. So the work had already started to sort of see what process improvements that I could bring to the table around to support the team. And I think having that layer of mapping out a critical path of, and understanding the governance and the templates that we had, it was very quickly easy for us to overlay the new act and the new requirements and embed those with another process to kind of follow and take forward. And I think it's really key that you bring the team with you. So this isn't me just dictating down, it's bringing the team into the work ethic and to actually work as a team to build those templates and to all have a role in bringing us forward so that we feel ready, and investing in training as well as finding that time as a team that we have a weekly Transformation Wednesday meeting where we will discuss new templates, we will discuss lessons learned from current frameworks that we're re-tendering as well. So it's having that good news story and giving people the opportunity to talk about the work that they're doing, because before I think it felt like everybody was working siloed. because they looked at after different categories, but there's a common theme within procurement, and common problems, and common processes that you have to follow. And it doesn't matter what category you've got, it's just how you then navigate that and include it for your categories going forward. And you can learn a lot from a sort of cross-pollination of a team as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That collaboration is key, isn't it? I think we always hear that expression, collaboration is key, but absolutely supporting one another and following, I suppose, the end goal is really important. And you alluded to it a moment ago, where you've been involved with acquisitions, transformational change within previous organisations. What has been your role within those changes and helping to embed those within an organisation? And how do you think that's helped to support your career today, that gaining that experience?
Yeah, so when I was working at ING Bank and we were acquired by Barclays, it was really another layer of understanding the organisational structure and what's required when you're doing an acquisition, and the information that you have to share, and having good processes and good governance is always key. I think, also trying to lead on transforming in procurement as well. So, procurement is ever evolving, and I don't think I've ever run the same tender twice. So it feels like you do a lot of change management within the life cycle of your career anyway. And you've got to bring people with you, because procurement, as I've said, is seen as a blocker. So it's really that stakeholder engagement and being able to influence and have resilience yourself, that you will get challenged and you will get pushed back. And I think it's being able to hold your own, but also be able to be an active listener to understand what the overarching drivers are when you're dealing with sort of an acquisition or any sort of transformational change as well. So again, you've got to take people with you. And I think that has led to me kind of honing my leadership skills and, being able to influence stakeholders and team members, which then has strengthened my ability to sort of manage complex challenges.
Yeah. And is there one particular instance which you felt the most proud of and your significant role within that?
I think it's influencing and being able to work with an array of different departments. I think I've just been very lucky with regards to having opportunities to kind of hone my experience. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, no, well, it does, because I think in every question that I've asked you, it's been really apparent that you've talked around that stakeholder piece and really developing those relationships. So that's really key for you, isn't it? And I guess that's the secret to your success as well, is just developing those incredible stakeholder relationships to bring everybody on the journey. Yeah. Which is great.
I think that's probably a core criteria of a procurement professional, is being an active listener, being able to influence stakeholders and bring them with you, and, looking at being an enabler. And, if we are seen as blockers, and there are times where you have to say, no, that's not the right route to go down and stuff, but it's been able to sort of articulate that and the reasons why. And, and that's down to good stakeholder engagement, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you're a big believer in supporting individuals who are either at the beginning of their procurement careers or who are wanting to develop their careers. You've been part of initiatives historically and currently are now. Can you share with us some of those initiatives that you've been part of to be that sort of mentor stroke supporter of procurement professionals?
Yes, I think because I think people fall into the procurement role, and I don't think I've met anybody in my career that actually knew they wanted to work in procurement. And from a university perspective, I work in the higher education sector, and I don't know, or I haven't seen people that have honed in and said, yes, I want to be a category manager, or I want to work in a procurement function. And I think there's more work that can be done in that area. So, I've got Izzy in my team, who's an assistant supply relationship manager. She joined the Sums group under SUPC as an administrator. So she was dealing with member queries, getting to feel sort of what our members' queries were, because they're all procurement professionals. And she really was astute in wanting to learn more, and she had this thirst for wanting to progress her career. And actually, she liked the stakeholder engagement. She liked the fact that it's quite diverse. We do a lot of different things in procurement, and really spending that time to understand individuals' needs. And so it was good having conversations with her about where she wanted to go and to look at different opportunities. And really kind of focusing in on what she wanted as an individual. And I think, you know, she's now been in post since August, and it's putting in that support function around her. I think hands-on experience is always the best way to learn a role. So shadowing and having that support from a team, and looking at professional training as well. So like SIPS, she's undertaking level 4 of her SIPS at the moment. We've looked at free webinars, you know, through the central government portal. There's the commercial college. So we have access to all of the training material on there, which gives a good overview on contract management. Also with the PA 23 coming in place with the Procurement Act, of doing like the initial e-learning training. So really just looking wider at development pathway and where she wants to get to. Because there's lots of different roles within procurement as well. So you could be more supplier focused, contract management, through to sourcing, through to category management. And I think, you know, it's having those good conversations with people, and that, you know, I get excited about procurement, which is probably seen as being very sad. But I set out with my journey as a career thinking I was going to major in art. And here I am, head of SUPC, as a head of a purchasing consortia for higher education. So completely different to where I was studying as you know, in my teens, that to where I was expected to be today. So I think, you know, anybody can start procurement at any stage in their career. And, you know, we've got a category manager here at SUPC that used to be a librarian and is now the category manager for academic services. So it has great experience of understanding the core requirements around academic services for our frameworks. But now we've developed him and given him that training on how to apply it from a procurement perspective. So there's lots of different routes to it, you know, and I just think, yeah, I'm just very passionate about procurement.
Yeah, and it's not sad at all. The amount of people I talk to who are incredibly passionate about procurement, it's not sad. And I think as well, taking individuals with those transferable skills and giving them the confidence and the training to become really great all-round procurement professionals, I think that's really valuable, and often overlooked by a lot of hiring managers as well. When you see the opportunity in somebody, is to really do that investment. It sounds like you're doing that in abundance at SUPC, which is great. Yeah. Well, Gemma, it's been great to obviously speak to you today, particularly around the work that you're doing, or the work you have done, should I say, because you're nearly there now, with the Public Procurement Act. So it'll be great to obviously at some point here as well, as the success stories of that, and what the actual outcomes have been with your members, etc. So it'll be wonderful to catch up with you again at some point. But Gemma, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you, Paula. It's been really good.
And if you would like to be part of the Levelling Up podcast series, like Gemma, and share your story, then please do get in contact today. I look forward to hearing from you, and I will look forward to you joining us for the next procurement podcast. Thank you.